Good afternoon. Nice to see all of you, whoever is going to show up today. And my name is Truth. That is what people call me. My birth name is Shannon, and I'm a medicine woman and a healer and an awakening activator, as well as someone here just sharing love on the planet and sharing my message in whatever way I can, as we all are in our own individual ways. So I spoke on my little post about boundaries, the eclipse, consent, changing our relationship with fear, and my hand is navigating this. And let me make sure I got my hand in a place that's comfortable. Okay, so there we go. I come on here because I'm called to share messages of support and love and encouragement, and I'm also continuing to revise the best way to share this information so that everyone gets whatever they need out of it, and it actually has an audience to be witnessed. And hi Pepper, you're a blessing. And yeah, so okay, I'm going to choose to talk about the eclipse and what that means to me, and how all those things that I shared about boundaries and consent and moving in a different relationship with fear all relate to the eclipse for me. Something I was talking about yesterday with a friend was eclipsing something. So I imagine that the eclipse, or you have a sun and you have a moon and there's this round appearance of it. And when I eclipse something, I can be in direct relationship with that thing, but I am relating to it from a different perspective. So things that have been coming up for me are codependency, boundaries, fear, self-doubt, self-sabotage, avoidance, ways I distract myself, and those are all coming up around from between now and last week. They've been really intensified in my awareness. And it was so beautiful. Yesterday I had this experience where I was sitting in meditation and I was in the presence of someone who is perceived by me to be codependent. And I got really fearful, like, wow, I thought I've worked through this thing already. I thought I've worked through my codependent tendencies, and look, there's this person here that's in my field that's codependent, and like, oh my God, am I codependent? And like, oh fuck, and all these fear voices start coming up. And I decided to just go within and let it all go. And what I noticed was that my relationship to codependency, or to what I perceived to be codependency, was different. I was in the presence of that texture, but I was not operating from that place. And this goes into speaking for me as well about boundaries and how I perceive boundaries. And in my life, I've had a total revolution, evolution, transformation, shifting, different ideas, different perspectives about boundaries. So wherever you're at with the topic of boundaries, honor that. I honor that completely, because we're all going through our different waves and phases with whatever aspect of ourselves is present. And so for me, I've gone through my own evolution, and it's taken many forms. In the beginning, I'm very empathic. I'm very sensitive. I feel everything, as long as I don't block it out through conscious or unconscious means. But I'm very sensitive. And so I used to put up, when I started discovering that I even had boundaries, or that I even could assert boundaries, because initially I was abused and projected on and forced to do things I didn't want to through childhood, and then through repetitive circumstances of attracting people that were like my parents. And then I realized I could have boundaries, and so then I started asserting myself in a very definitive way, and it was very black or white. It was either this way or that way. And so I felt like in some way that was helping me to assert myself, but also cutting me off from certain experiences. And fast forward, because it's been a transformation, and if you want to know what that's looked like in longer terms, we can talk about that. But right now, for time's sake, I will share that for me, I don't have hard, rigid boundaries, other than like perspectives and stances I take on the world. Like I will not let you hit my dog ever. You know, like this is not gonna fly. However, when it comes to touch, when it comes to interaction, when it comes to connection with people, I have chosen through my trust in myself to have what I consider the best way I can describe it is fluid boundaries, but that doesn't even feel appropriate. So, how would I describe it? Like, I am a safe and contained and sovereign being. I am safe and I am contained and I am protected within myself. My heart and my open heart is my best protection. It is my protection because it is what I choose to express in life. I want to live life with an open heart. I want to live life being open and receptive. And so because I choose to live life being open and receptive, I have to learn how to have boundaries in a world where people aren't necessarily consciously aware of subtle energy in every moment without closing off my own energy to life. Because I've noticed when I close in one area really rigidly, it does impact all these other areas, and there's a way I'm closing in other areas too. So I want to remain open and fluid. When that means is it's not a blanket across the board, no one can touch my boobs. Example, please don't touch my boobs without asking. But we're going to give, like, I'm going to go extreme example right now for whatever reason. It's not an across the board, please don't touch my boobs. Because I might be very open to a particular person in a particular experience reaching and touching me, and I don't want to have to navigate through all these Tetris blocks to get them to be able to do that if I'm really actually open to that person in that moment. So that's not a hard boundary. However, I am aware of myself, present with myself, anchored in myself, and if I sense someone coming in to do something that I'm not really available for in that moment, I'm going to tell them no. I'm going to say no thank you. And I'm still open. They might feel rejected, but I'm still present, and I'm actually able to be present with them. And I could have a conversation with them even if they were open to it. Sometimes people get, they feel this sense of rejection, so they kind of shut down a little bit and don't feel as safe or feel embarrassed or whatever for asking. And that's totally understandable. Most of us have been shut down for various things in our lives, so it can be hard to ask for what we want. And so that process of asking for what we want can be challenging. So if we get rejected or perceived as rejection, it can make us feel insecure and shut down. So things that I've also done in order to have boundaries is I've learned to face myself empathically, because one thing that kept me from wanting to set boundaries with people was being so empathic and not wanting to cause a ripple that would have someone else feel uncomfortable and maybe angry. Maybe I trigger someone. Maybe me setting my boundary triggers someone else. And then I have to feel what it is they're going through. And so, hi Casey, nice to see you. I haven't been watching the comments, so I don't know who's on here. And this is like a very multi-dimensional topic, and I will be speaking later on about how to turn empathy into a superpower, because it is a superpower, and it's not something to avoid, but there's ways that we can cultivate empathy and to bring empathy into greater awareness so that we're empowered in ourselves, and not just empowered in ourselves, but we're empowered to relate with people. Because in my experience with boundaries, with being sensitive, with having a super empathic nature, with having grown up in a crazy fucking hellhole of family dynamics, with the way the world is right now, and having healed all these parts of myself, I would want to go into my own little bubble of bliss in my own little cave and to hide away from life and to push out all that is negative energy. I am going to got to preserve my beautiful queendom here, so I'm going to push out all negative energy. Well, I've learned a few things in my self-awareness practice that has brought me into a greater harmony with things that are negative, with the aspects of life that I face that are really uncomfortable for me, and like, oh my God, I don't want to walk into this crowd of people and I'm going to feel all these feelings and la da 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 da. I have cultivated practices that have helped me to remain in my beautiful, angelic, fairy, magical forest realm no matter who I'm around. And it's not by protecting myself with shields. It's not by cutting out people who have states of being that are undesirable. It's not about shutting myself off from the world and from deeply experiencing life. It's actually through quite the opposite. So I'm feeling called to share that if anyone is interested in diving into that process, I would love to share that with you. I would love to walk you through that and guide you through that, because being empathically sensitive in the state of the world is a fucking superpower, because we're shifting into an age where the feminine is rising. And I don't mean feminine in women, I mean feminine, our sensitivities, our empathic nature as human beings, as beings that are part of an interconnected web. And this eclipse in particular is about emotions, deep, deep feelings, things from the past that have not been fully realized or processed or integrated are coming up. So it can be intense. Maybe we're feeling a lot. Maybe I'm feeling a lot, but I'm, on some level projecting that because I'm having this conversation with everyone, that there's intense stuff that can be arising in the field. A lot with sensitivity, vulnerability, deep vulnerability. What does it mean to be deeply vulnerable and to still be in our power? So those are all themes of this eclipse, and there's a way that we can face ourselves and our life and our past experiences and our unfavorable experiences even, where we can integrate that so completely that we can eclipse that dimension, essentially be right next to the very thing that triggered us the most, or, in the past, that very thing, and be completely sovereign and not affected by it in the same way. I'll elaborate. I can be next to someone who is highly codependent, even in relationship to me. And I can interact with that person with openness, kindness, personal empowerment, fun, joy, play, pleasure, and just not engage in that piece at all. At all. Not through denial, not through pushing it away, definitely not through either of those, actually through the opposite, through having embraced that part of myself, forgiving that part of myself, and choosing to be in a different state based on deep awareness of myself through years and 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 years of dedicated awareness practices. I have come to this place in myself. It wasn't like I snapped my fingers and all of a sudden I was healed. I have chosen to dedicate time, energy, money, love to healing these places in myself. I knew there was a better way. I always knew from the core of me, and I was not going to stop until I reached that. It's taken time and dedication, a lot of time and dedication. And so I'm feeling like that's my talk for today. My talk's going to be a little shorter these Saturdays because I'm focusing my energy on creating content that can be easily applied by everyone, and practices that can be applied. And so one thing that I'm creating, and I'm a little, it's a little bit like ahead, but it's not ahead in the sense that it's here. I'm just learning how to package it and to formulate it so that I can translate it to you, but doing activations and energy clearings and balancings for long distance. So videos as well as one-on-one shamanic activations, integrations, where essentially you will be opening yourself to getting like a full on healing, but it doesn't have to be done in person. And I know this might sound a little bit out there for a lot of people, but if you're anyone who's interested in quantum physics and science, because it's totally proven to be true, the healing work I do goes over time and space and isn't defined isn't defined by time and space. I do deep, amazing shamanic healing work in person, but it takes a long time and it's a whole process. And so while I do offer that to people, it's going to be a lot easierly English. It's going to be more accessible to do it long distance. And so if you're interested in doing that, I'm going to be launching a sort of beta practice for that, where I'm going to be charging less than I will in the long run to get feedback. So if that's something that you're interested in, please PM me. And I'm feeling that a couple of you probably are going to be interested in that. We can talk about what that looks like. And I love you guys, and thank you for whoever's tuning in. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Happy eclipse. The eclipse energy will be lasting probably for the next week, so just be really gentle on yourselves. Whatever is coming up with regards to the realms of vulnerability, sensitivity, especially in relationships, especially things from the past coming up, don't push it away. Please, 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 please. Please, 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 please don't push it away. We are in a quantum leap state, essentially, with these eclipses, that whatever is arising for us during this time, we have the opportunity to make a quantum leap in our relationship to it. And so if we really use this deep time to go inside, and instead of avoiding, really like bringing awareness to like, oh, self-doubt, oh, fear, oh, codependency, and without judgment, just being aware of it, we have the opportunity to shift it, because we have a new relationship to it, one without judgment, one without condemnation. So I'm eclipsing condemnation right now. Okay, I'm eclipsing persecution. Condemnation is more the right word, but eclipsing condemnation. I can perceive, I can even allow judgment to come up, but I'm not going to condemn myself or others based on that judgment. I am open to receive whatever is true about this. I am open to receive the truth about my experience, my life, my relationships, myself. I am open to receive the truth of this in greater awareness, harmony, and love. Affirmation for the eclipse and for whatever seems to be coming up that might be scary. Loving everyone. How long has it been? I don't know how long I've been on here. So I'm feeling like it's about time to get off. I will be sharing every Saturday things that I will be interested in sharing. I can post ahead of time and get your feedback. There's many topics that I could share about because I have a wellspring of information, but I just have to pick, and it's definitely based on what's desired by you, as well as what's relevant in the current astrological realm, as well as what's happening collectively, as well as what's happening for me. And so it's a combination of all of that, but I believe I'll be sharing about our relationship with fear. And that's just been something that's come up again and again and again as I've heard people speaking about things they're afraid to do and how we can shift our relationship to fear to empower us and actually move us forward in the direction of our heart's truest calling. So loving everyone. If there's anything that anyone wishes to share as of right now before I pop off, I'm open to that. Otherwise, if you're wanting to be one of the first people that gets my long distance energetic healing, I would message me today or this weekend, and I'll be taking the first 5 people at a discounted rate, and then after that I'll be refining it and it'll be a different package for people. So loving you guys, message me, and I hope to see you soon and talk with you soon. Blessings on your weekend. Blessings on this intense time of unearthing and of realizing our truest nature. Aloha.